times in life where everything is falling apart. You are breaking, you are tired, you're exhausted. You are crying, you're depressed, you're just going through it. And you do not know how to rise above it. In those moments, you might actually tend to ask yourself, God, where are you? It might look like God has forgotten you and that God has abandoned you. But this is what I've learned. Sometimes God will send you angels. He will send you angels, not in an obvious manner, not in wings, not in perfection, not how you expect it to be, but He sends angels. Sometimes it's that friend who calls you the exact moment when you need a friend and you're going through something. Sometimes it is that person who refuses to give up on you. Sometimes it's just that stranger who shows you unexpected kindness. God always sends you angels, and sometimes we do not recognize them because we expect angels to look in a particular way. Sometimes angels come in messy situations, comes in hard conversations, in that friend who challenges you to think bigger and to grow better. And sometimes instead of blaming God, you just have to ask yourself, God, where is my angel? Where is that angel that you've been sending to me and I've been overlooking? And sometimes maybe you've also been an angel to someone. Maybe there's that friend who met you and they were kinder. They left when they were happier and smiling and they were stronger because of you. Maybe you've been that person who is always showing up for everyone and taking care of everyone, and that makes you an angel to other people. The best way for you to get angels is for you to pray. And I would also challenge you to also be that angel to someone else, because sometimes the blessing you've been waiting for is also waiting for you to become. Maybe you've been through so much in life, maybe you've experienced a lot of pain, so that you can be that angel that you've been looking to someone else. Hello online family, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brightstar, and this one is not another star. This one is beautiful, bold, brave, bright, brilliant, and a little extra. Bright by name, star by nature. Bright by name, bold by purpose. Built from grass to grace, rising through skies and refusing to dim. On this channel, I am not just Brightstar. I am your online bestie. So if you're here for the laughter, the lessons, or something a little extra to brighten your day, you are in the right place. Life is too short to dim your light. And if you've ever lost your light, I hope you find some of it here. All things bold, all things bright. Angels sent by God. Have you ever experienced them? Have you ever met someone or an experience and you're like, that particular person was sent by God to remind me who I am? Has that ever happened to you? I don't know, but I kind of believe that God always sends angels to our lives when we are going through tough times so that they can take us from A to B. What do I mean? Life can be very challenging by itself. You might be hardworking, talented, and all that, but life sometimes has a way of knocking you down and making you doubt yourself, and that is when God sends you angels. What has been my experience with angels? Oh, there are many. And the most recent one was actually yesterday, and that is what I want to tell you about. For the longest time, I've been feeling I do not want to run a business. I have been feeling exhausted, I've been feeling drained, and it didn't happen in one day. It actually happened just over time, step by step, things that broke me, challenges, hiring the wrong people, financial instability. One time I'm very rich, other time I'm very broke. Just a lot of challenges, clients, sometimes disappointing clients and feeling so bad about it. It didn't happen overnight. It just happened a step at a time. I reached a point where it was so bad, and at some point I kept feeling I do not want to run a business. Then yesterday we had this client, okay. She ordered for 2 suits, and the day she came, I was told about her, and we had already saved her number in our phone. So I remember there's a time I had done an interview, and she reached out to me, and that's how I saved her. But she couldn't know that I was still the same girl that she reached out that time. I thought she knew, and that's why she was coming back to fulfill her promise. Because when I was going through so much, she actually called me and she told me she is very proud of me and I should just keep going, and yeah, and she'll come by us. So that time I was new. I was still actually working with someone. I had not started my business independently. And so I saved her number and she never came. But this time she came to work and she ordered for 2 suits, very executive suits. Now, one of the team members asked me if I could meet her and we just have like a chat, and I was like, yeah, I would be open to meeting her. But the reason I wanted to meet her, it wasn't because she was a client. It's because I remember that she was among the first people who ever reached out to me when I was starting. And I just wanted to know if she remembers that I was that girl in an interview that she reached out to. We met yesterday, we sat down, we had conversations about life. And you know, she was my sent angel. And you know why? Because she's a senior in one of the corporates, and she was telling me, I told her, I was like, I would want to relocate. I am tired of running a business. I feel I'm not motivated anymore. And then she told me, Sir, even if you go to the corporate world, you're still going to deal with all these issues you're dealing with. You're still going to run people. If you become a manager, you still have to deal with people. You still care for people. I told her, I don't feel like I have what it takes to be a business person because I'm so caring. I want to take care of my team. I'm worried about people when they're going through stuff. I want to be there for everybody. And honestly, what that does, it ends up draining me, especially if I meet people who are not trustworthy. And I feel like I would want to restart all over again in a new country. And we had a conversation like, you've built a brand, you've worked so hard, you do not know how your brand is big, but your name is so big and you're inspiring so many girls out here that you can actually build something with your life. That you can actually come from nothing and build something, and you do not have scandals. You've worked so hard for your brand. You're not looking for men to fund you. We've watched you grow literally, and now you're this girl that a lot of young people look up to, and you can do so great. She doesn't know it, but having that conversation with her was like a God-sent angel. When she left, I was so motivated. I was so fired. It's like the fire I had lost for over a year now. Not a year, almost 2 years. Actually, almost 3 years. The fire I had lost was back. She spoke so much life to me, and I realized how much impact I've made. And partly the biggest reason why I would not want to get back to like business is because I kept feeling I've not made an impact, and I would want to make an impact. And I made a promise to myself yesterday. I'm gonna be the best boss. I'm gonna work hard again. I'm gonna get back to business. I'm gonna keep trying. She was a God-sent angel. You see that? She didn't even know. And I even told her, I was like, do you know when I did an interview when I was starting out, you actually reached out to me? She couldn't remember it was me. Unfortunately, she didn't remember it was me, but I remembered and I reminded her, and she told me she always calls people. She has a big heart. That lady has a big heart. But as I was sharing with her my journey, I remembered how many God-sent angels that I've met on my way. I have met so many God-sent angels, and I believe if you could just look in your life closely and ask yourself, when was I stuck and God sent a stranger, someone who didn't know me? You will be surprised at how many times that happened. And today, I want to challenge you. If you do not have anything to thank God for, I want you to thank God for the angels that He sent in your life, angels that are protecting you without you even knowing. Sometimes His angels are spiritual, and sometimes they are physical in form of human beings. And you know, I don't know. I didn't prepare for this video. So it's like, and I'm exhausted. Let me tell you something. I'm exhausted. It's Saturday, and even the team has left work a few minutes ago, and I told them to leave me. It's 7:31, so they left like around 7. And I told them to leave me so I can do a YouTube. I've made a commitment that every day I'm going to do a YouTube as long as I'm dressed here, no matter how difficult it is. And honestly, Oops, it's hard. Like, honestly, it's hard. Because, like, today I'm so exhausted. I'm super, super exhausted. But anyway, let's go on to our today's conversation. Let's start from, how do you identify angels? Sometimes you have to just like pray to God to give you discernment. You know, if you go out here and you're looking for angels, you're gonna get the wrong ones, because you're gonna have this mentality that everyone who comes to your way is an angel. And sometimes some of them are distractions that are hiding as angels, and they know you're weak spot, so they try to impress you. And then once they impress you, they just mess you up. So you have to have discernment. Pray to God for discernment. Ask God. Every morning when you wake up, you're like, God, every person I meet today, may they be a blessing in my life. And every person you bring my way, may they be that game changer. That's prayer that I've been wanting to have. And once you pray, when you meet people, also pray to God again. Ask Him, God, I hope this is the right person. Another thing when it comes to like identifying angels that God has sent in your life is you have to stop judging a book by its cover. What do I mean? Sometimes angels will not look glamorous. They will not look glamorous at all. You know, we make the mistakes of thinking that only the famous and the successful and the filthy, wealthy people who are dressed in designer clothes and who stand out in a room can actually change your life. You are looking for the glamour. You believe that for someone to be an angel in your life and to change your life, they actually have to have the glamour. No, 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 no. Sometimes angels wear the simplest clothes, have the simplest careers, but they know something that you don't, and they can even teach you or even help you in ways that those glamorous people can't help. If you get a glamorous one, well and good. I mean, flex with their photos. I would also want a glamorous one. I mean, I am a flashy person, so I would want a flashy one. I mean, we are human beings, but I've learned to not judge books by their covers. Get to know people, treat everyone with respect, ask them how they are doing. Just be kind to people. You never know where you will meet your angel. Like, if you're just respectful and kind to everyone, you are going to meet angels in the most unexpected places. I just noticed right now that my video wasn't clear, but I'm not gonna repeat this video. And the other way is that you have to attend networking places. But as you attend networking places, remember to just pray. You have to put yourself out here and use your gifts and your talents. If you're talented at public speaking, use them. If you're talented at business, use it. Most of the time, angels are also looking for extraordinary people, and the more you put yourself out there, the more you actually have a chance of getting your God-sent angel. What has been my experiences with angels? Let me give you a view of how my life has been. The first angel I met in my life was a doctor. I think that was my first angel, because after I had the accident, there was this doctor who was attending to me. And then because the plaster had been done the wrong way, this doctor said, that time that it happened, it was an intern who did my hand. And so I don't know whether he was guilty, but I tend to think he just had a good heart, because he taught me how to write using my left hand. And he also advised my grandparents to put me in school when I'm younger than usual actually, so that I could learn to use my left hand properly. He also taught me how to write A to Z, 1 to 100. So by the time I was going to school, I was already a genius. Not because my parents had taught me. I didn't know my parents, okay? I didn't know my parents. But this doctor had played a big role in my life. That was an angel. Honestly, that was an angel, because that whole idea of what he did changed my life trajectory in a very big way. When I was able to go to school very young, I was able to graduate very young, which wouldn't have been possible for a village girl if this doctor didn't intervene. This was an angel sent to change my life. I encountered angels in form of teachers, because teachers were like super, super kind to me, and they would make me feel I was a star. And That was interesting because I was always position one. So a lot of teachers took their interest in me and they advised me. They were angels. They helped me. I encountered angels in form of my high school scholarship. I got a scholarship from this family. They were the directors of the school I went to, and I actually just went all the way to this school by myself, and I was young. And I had my school uniform, my primary school uniform, and my certificates, and they ended up just paying my school fees. And even before I met them, there was this angel who was a principal then, because she is the one who was so touched by the fact that I had come to look for a school by myself, and she actually moved me. No, she actually told me that the director was around and I should go say hi to her. So she introduced me. That was an angel. There was what do you call her? There was a secretary who kept picking my calls because I called so many schools looking for scholarship, and many of them were not kind to me, okay? Many of them were not kind to me, but this secretary was very kind to me. That was an angel. When I was in my high school, I used to give a lot of speeches. I don't know why I have never been a successful YouTuber. Looking at it, I was a talented speaker. I wish I did those speeches in my YouTube. I would be so big right now. I wouldn't be broke. Anyway, so I used to give speeches because my then director would call me to give speeches. Like, he would introduce me to everyone. And so I became a star in my school. And a lot of parents would actually invite me to their homes. Those who are my angels. Those who are my angels. I've lived with 7 families. Those who are my angels. Like, they took me from one point to another. I've met people on the way who pushed my goals. I've had mentors who believed in me. I have had many angels, clients who loaned me money when I was in the verge of collapsing. I have had many angels. So when you look at it, it's not like the angels who helped me were like specific. It was just like from A to B, there was this particular time. And one of my biggest angels, I talk about her everywhere, Mama Rose. Mama Rose saw me giving a speech in high school, and she became my mom way later after high school when I was in campus. And she loved me as her own child, and she shaped me to be the Brightstar I am today. That was my angel. She's among the 7 families I lived with, plus my grandparents. You see, your angels are literally people who take you from one point to another. And sometimes they don't have to give you money. My team members are actually my angels. Let me tell you, when I've been going through stuff for the last few months, looking at them and having them come to work has actually given me a purpose. I mean, I do not get inspired to do things for money. And I think that's a poverty symptom, the fact that I grew up in a lot of poverty. But I get inspired to do things for human beings. And having a team has been so helpful in me curbing my depression and knowing that I have to wake up every day because I have a team. Now, let me tell you about the most interesting angel I ever heard. The most interesting angel I ever heard was a cat. That was a cat. And this cat, I called her Peace. But Peace was the most interesting pet I've ever had. And I am a pet lover. I'm always taking care of animals, dogs in the streets. I'm always trying to spread love and kindness, and especially to stray animals. Peace was a stray animal. And the first day that I started the business, I was on my way to the place I was staying. And I was very, very suicidal. Not really suicidal, but I was literally so broken from hiding my hand. And I kept wondering how I would ever be a big star if I had a hand like that. And I was literally so depressed. And I walked to my friend's place and I told him I was ready to learn. We were supposed to be business partners with my then friend. And then I went to another program in TV. By the time the program was getting done, he was already in business, and I told him I wanted to learn business. And so this is the first day of me learning the business with him. This is the first day I created my business page. And remember, I'm just like new. It's like I'm an intern in this office, and I'm going to my house, and the boss I don't know. Someone actually called me and he was telling me he was stuck somewhere and he needed 500 shillings. And I was in the midst of sending him the 500 shillings when I forgot that we had remember, I'm also new in this new place I was saying. So I didn't know we had arrived and the bus now went with me only for me to realize everyone has a light, and I was telling them I should have a lighter, so they told me we'll go and fuel and then bring you back. So that means by the time we were coming back, it was around 10 p.m. So I'm going to my house and I'm walking. Then I hear this cat and it's like meow, 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 meow. And I'm like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Then this cat comes running to me. It was in somewhere in the bush. And then I pick her. And I'm like, this is the heaviest pet I've ever carried. She was heavy. And so I carried her and she was making a lot of noise. And then I took her to my house. And that day I had milk and rice. So the caretaker to where I was living used to help me with cooking. So this was the food she had helped me cook, and then I had eaten. And I was like, I'm gonna eat this food later when I'm in the house. And so this means this was supposed to be my dinner. And I gave this cat that milk, and then she finished the milk. She was still meowing. And then I gave her the food. She finished the food. And I had done that with a lot of pets. So this wasn't strange. Even dogs. There's a time I stayed with a small puppy in my house until the owners found them. I've always opened my house to dogs and, cats. Anyway, so I think it's time for this cat to go. And I'm just looking at her and she's still making noise. And then she gets under my bed then and gives birth. This cat gave birth like 3 kittens. I was there watching the whole thing. And you don't know how that helped me, because the following morning I was so motivated to go to work because I needed to buy milk. And that is how I kept showing up at work where I was being taught fashion because I wanted to buy milk. And I bought milk and I would cook for her with her children. And then when her children grew, she tried to take them away. I think Peace was someone's cat. And when the cats were big, Peace tried to take away the kittens with her. But the kittens couldn't live. Remember, this was their home and this is what they knew. So they couldn't live with her. And she left. So she kept coming after every 6 months when she's pregnant, gave birth in my house, nursed the kittens, and go. That was the trend. Like in a year, she would come like twice. And I ended up with a lot of kittens because I had like the abandonment wound where I could not give out kittens because I was left as a child by my own mom. So I kept on keeping them and keeping them and keeping them, and I had so many. But honestly, when I look back, that was the most craziest part of my life when I had all these kittens. But then they were angels sent from above because they helped me focus on something else that was in my life. I knew I couldn't commit I couldn't leave this world because I kept asking myself, if I leave this world, what will happen to these kittens? I owe them food, milk. So yeah, that was the most interesting angel. And if you can learn from my stories, one thing you can learn is just this, okay? Just this, okay? Angels have no shape or form. Sometimes they come in animal form. Sometimes they come in human form. And sometimes it can even be your parents. Maybe your parents have always been there and they're always supportive and they always care for you. Those are angels. Stop looking for extraordinary miracles. Like sometimes your angels are right there with you. It could be your friends. It could be your siblings. It could be just anyone literally who helps you shape your life in one way or the other. The other thing we should be discussing about angels is what happens when things go south with angels. I want you to know that sometimes some people are sent by God for a particular season and a particular reason. I think the biggest mistake I made in my life is that I wanted to keep all my angels even in different seasons. But right now that I'm older, I know this. An angel is not meant to be permanent in your life. Sometimes they just come to take you from point A to point B, and that is enough. Like, God wants you to just get a helper. Stop holding on to everyone. I actually tried to communicate with everyone who tried to help me, and sometimes it just drains you. And then sometimes some people come in your life. Like I had this mentor. He was like literally a good mentor for some years. And I was so attached to him not like in a relationship. He was married, like he's young, but he's married. But we never had like anything. We were just like, I was young. I mean, I was also very young, so we were not like, he wasn't even out to me. He never even made moves on me. Maybe that changed later, but I'm saying when I was his mentee, he never made moves on me. So we had a very good relationship, and he was able to be there for me during my worst times in business, and he would pick my calls and encourage me. There was a time I took in some kids I was taking care of. It was so chaotic. He was literally there, and he would pick my calls. But towards last year, things just didn't work out with the mentorship thing. And I think the hardest thing, he was going through some business challenges, and I kind of feel like the hardest thing was accepting that he he also needed someone to be there for him, and I tried to be there for him, but he wasn't okay for a while, and so maybe we will go back to talking when his business is okay, because he is an amazing human being. His wife is an amazing human being. Like, they are amazing, but they were just going through some tough times, and I needed to be okay with it. Like, I learned that when your angels go missing, it's not even personal. If they're going through stuff, it's just that they're going through stuff, and it has nothing to do with you at all. And you have to be okay with them being there for a season and a reason. Stop holding on to everything that God sends your life, and always be okay with letting it go. You know, there's a saying that says you let it go, and if it comes back, it belongs to you. And if it doesn't come back, it wasn't meant for you. I think that's it. So remember, I did a video on detachment. So you need to like be okay and trust God that if this particular person or this particular thing came to my life and maybe passed away, got sick, or something changed, it's because that's how God meant it to be, and you need to make peace with it. You need to make peace with it. You need to make peace with it. Um, do you have an angel in your life? I am curious. Do you have an angel in your life? Do you have that person who, in case of anything, you can actually call them? Or they've actually helped your life in one way or the other? Do you? If you don't, please pray for one. I was watching one of the apostles, and he was saying that this life is built on relationship. If you have the best relationships with people, then you're gonna go very far. So having one or two angels will take you far. I think that's one of the mistakes I've made with my life. I am a loner, and I am not so good at networking. If I was so good at networking the way I am talented, I would be very far. So this year, one of my goals is to network, and not to just network with anyone, but to network with strategic people. I want to have millionaires in my circles. I want to have millionaires in my circle. And I've been thinking literally on how to do that. Interview millionaires, maybe. I've been thinking on how to go about it. Excuse me, are you a millionaire? When was the first time you made a million? You know that guy? I've been thinking of doing something similar. And I'm like, God, I haven't actually even prayed about it. So let me pray, God, please give me a business idea to bring millionaires in my circle. So I need to like really, literally network the same way I work hard. And my life will never be the same again. That is what I know. That is what I know. And you do. You need to network. You need to network with people. You need to pray for angels. You need to actively be kind to strangers. You just need to find your way out. And I'm praying that you find the right people, honestly. And while we are at praying for angels, also pray for your mentality to be positive, so that you can be able to see opportunities in every situation instead of seeing challenges. Because I kind of feel like I've met some of my angels when I was going through my worst. And if I was very negative minded or very poisoned, and I didn't feel like God is doing something great in my life, I would have missed those times. I have had situations where I'm on my worst. Recently, I had an angel in form of my brother. Biologically, I am the only child, but Mom Rose has three children, and one of them passed away. And the angel that I had was my brother, not the other son. Because when I reached out, I wasn't okay. Like the death really took a toll on me. I broke down, I cried, I was so lost for some months. And he became my angel in that he was able to get me a therapist, a psychiatrist, so that I could be able to deal with loss and all the other losses I've ever experienced, because they realized I am not so good at dealing with loss. So that was an angel. He talked to me about business. He was willing to guide me. That was an angel, because honestly, if he didn't step in, I would have, I would have, I don't know where I would be right now. I wouldn't be speaking to you guys. Remember the video I did when I was saying, I don't know if I'll survive? Yeah, I was in that position. So that was an angel. So when I look at my life literally, I just realize there's always an angel for every reason in every season. The place I am in, my building, there is a caretaker who is very kind. He is literally an angel, because when I've been going through some tough times, I can just talk to him and he will talk to the management. I can write a letter to the management. Okay, I just want to show you that I look good. Okay, just like I like how this trouser looks, honestly. It looks so good on me. And this is a Gen Z in me misbehaving. But anyway, that's not the point. I was saying that I can talk to him and he can give me some time to figure things out. My life has had angels. And you know, when I was thinking about this video, when I'm telling you this, like right now, when I'm having this conversation with you, I make this decision. I will never be ungrateful again. I will never be ungrateful about my life. My God has been so kind to me. He's always sent people my way. He's always, it's like I have grace and favor. And even the client I was telling you about yesterday, how she was my angel, the most recent angel. You know, she told me I have grace and favor and everyone can see it, but I can't. And I realized that's just the truth. I've always had a lot of grace and favor. Even when I'm going through the worst, even when I'm broke, a client will call and send me money, and that money will be able to pay people. Like, there's no literally a single day that I was never able to have just a little bit enough to take care of my team. It might not be everything. I might even be in loans. I might even be going through the worst behind the scenes I might be. But then, who is the devil? The devil makes me feel, you know, like I'm failing, like I'm a fraud, like I will never win. And I focus on that, and then I spiral, and then I scroll, and then I waste a lot of time doing nothing. Oh God, I just noticed I don't have my microphone. We are back on set. Thank God there was still sound, but I put my microphone away with my cord. Oh my goodness. Girl! Girl, when you are married, you're nice body. You actually forgot your microphone. Oops. Anyway, I was saying, the devil makes me feel like I'm failing. But now when she was telling me I have all this favor, I remembered everyone I've met, they talk about my grace and favor. And I've never realized how powerful that is. Every time I'm going through stuff, God has a way of showing up. And I remember even I used to have like very, very bad, oops, do I talk about this? Let's say stomach pain. Yeah, for the girls, you get it. For the boys, scroll. And I used to have very bad stomach pain. And at some point, I was doing my final exams in campus. And I was so worried because the exams fell on the same, like it was the same time when my stomach was paining, and I knew I was not gonna be able to pull that. You know what happened? My first exam was, no, we had some exams, and then there was an exam on Monday. And Tuesday, when my stomach was in a lot of pain, like I was in a lot of pain, there was no exam for that day. Like, I literally remember that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was God. Because if there was exam that day, I would have failed, because I used to be able to, like, I used to have a lot of pain to the point I couldn't stand up. And God constantly made sure that no big day of my life fell on the same day as the day I was having stomach pain. I have seen God do miracle things in my life. However, because my idea of success is having more than enough and just being able to afford everything, I tend to feel God forgets me, but He has never. And so today I was like, when I'm doing this video, I was like, Brightstar, you will never be ungrateful again. You're the most blessed young lady, and God has chosen you to be a blessing in this generation, to be a star. And then today when I was going through, I was doing some videos and I was super, super tired. But I'm trying to like commit myself and work hard because I'm showing God. You know what I'm doing? For me to record all this video, I am recording these videos because I'm showing God that I'm ready to be a global star. So I might post all these videos, but I want God to blow me up. I want God to blow me up. I want to be a global superstar. And because of that one thing, I need to prove to my God that I can stand the whole day. I can tour the world. I can just become the star that I wanted to be. But you know what? I realized I wasn't ready for it. Like, it's so much hard work to just work every day and stand up. And I've been thinking I was ready for fame. No, I wasn't ready for fame, honestly. I wasn't. This is the time I'm ready. I can stand from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. just recording videos. So I can actually tour the world. I can actually sing. I can actually dance. I can actually write books. I can be the star that I was meant to be because God kept sending me his angels and preparing me. Another thing I want you to know, in case you've been praying for your angels and you feel like no one has showed up, I want you to know that God knows you. God knows your heart. And God knows that you are not ready. Sometimes we've seen people who became very successful and then they blew all that in like a year, or they went into debt because they were not ready. They were not prepared for that level of fame and money and success. When you're praying for your angels, also pray for God to prepare you so that you're ready, so that you do not get one investor, one customer, one person who changes your entire life, and then you are not ready for that blessing and then you mess it up. No, that cannot happen over here. Okay? It cannot happen over here. You have to be ready for your angels and for your blessings. How do you get ready for your blessings? Now, how do you get ready for your angels? You keep praying every day, you keep trusting, you keep giving every day your all. If you're employed, be the star of that employment. If you have a business, be the best business person. If you're an artist, a singer, be the best. If you're a dancer, be the best. Like, keep doing whatever you're doing every day and trust in God so that by the time your angel and your blessing is arriving, you are ready for it. We have come to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. And please, please, please let me know, when did God send you an angel? Do you have an angel in your life? Do you have someone that you believe God literally sent to you? Or even a pet or something that keeps you moving, that kept you moving on a low point in life from point A to point B? Do you thank God enough for that thing? Or you keep on complaining on what isn't there? Do you look at the blessings literally God has done by just ensuring you survive every day and they are always the right people to keep you moving? And those right people don't even have to be external. It could be you. You could be your own angel. Bye bye and see you in the next video.